My name is Navot Naor, and I'm the founder and CEO of PlayWell, where we seek to change the quality of life of brain tumor survivors by improving their well-being one game at a time. But before founding PlayWell, I was Spider-Man's sidekick. This is my older brother, Niv. Last year, Niv was diagnosed with pituitary macroadenoma. The treatment was swift, and within a couple of months, the tumor was removed. But my older brother, Niv, has become a part of the survivors. There are 700,000 people living with brain tumor in the US alone, another 100,000 in the UK. And while prevention, diagnosis, treatment, they all still play a major role in the fight against cancer. Like David Jenkinson just told you, more and more attention is being diverted into the quality of life and the well-being of the survivors. As over half of all of those would report problems with memory, attention, language, or mood. They might develop psychiatric problems or other secondary problems. The problem is that there aren't enough therapists. And even those there are, it is really hard to get to, especially if you're living in rural places. And that got me thinking, how can we create a product that helps us do one of the hardest things there are, change our behavior? I don't know about you, but I have a very long list of forgotten exercise apps and incomplete programs, unresolved New Year resolutions. How can we make a product to change that? Well, it turns out that the solution is actually quite straightforward. Each of our users receives a task list, things like physical or mental exercises, social interaction, or scheduling. We track their behavior on their phone and other smart wearables, and wherever they complete one of our tasks, they are immediately rewarded in whichever game they choose to play. But that's where the magic begins. We take all of that data and we feed it into a machine learning algorithm. Doing that allows us to do two very important things. One, we can change the tasks themselves, the list that you receive, so we always learn what you need to do more. But we can also change the value of the rewards that you get. Doing that allows us to create the optimal continuing environment for change. It is really important to remember that we don't make the games themselves. There are other games out there in the market, but we're leveraging the in-game premium features that are already built into most of those games. And we've already teamed up with Wilson Sonsini to secure the IP for that process. There are other eHealth and mHealth services out there. It's actually booming at the moment because of the virus, but they fall short of the mark for two main reasons. One, they either they require daily active engagement from the user. So you have to open their app every single day so you actually get the benefit of using it. And they focus on change through education or coaching. And then they're setting up general tasks, and they're giving up incentives that are just not motivating enough. Unlike them, we are meeting our users wherever they are, and we can adjust to whatever game or whatever environment you choose to be in. The mHealth industry has grown to become a $30 billion industry by 2018. By offering two types of services, one direct to consumer and one for groups, we hope to capture about 50,000 active daily users within the first 2 years after our launch. As part of that effort, we've teamed up with the Digging Deep project. This is organizations set up by Sherry Sebrato. And they created a game called Shadow's Edge, which you can see on your screen right now. This is the first beta version of our engine integrated into Shadow's Edge, which is a game designed to help youth suffering from loneliness as a result of chronic illnesses. We're asking for $193,000 to complete our phase 1, which would include the creation of our alpha and the testing on it. And in the next step, we will ask for $335,000 to complete our beta before rolling out in the first quarter of 2021. Our team is made up of young and eager entrepreneurs, alongside more experienced people from health industry, entrepreneurship, and business development. Please join us in the fight for the quality of life of brain tumor survivors. We're PlayWell, and we want to tell you that the medicine might taste bad, but the treatment does not have to be unpleasant. Thank you.
Thank you, Navot, for a great presentation. Appreciate it. Are there any questions for Navot?
Quick one, Navot. So for brain tumor survivors, Are you focused on addressing executive function issues or skills or memory, or what's the concept?
So thank you very much. This is a really important question. We're actually not focusing on any one specific alleyway because we know that every individual is different. What we're offering here is a suit that can be tailor-made for every one of our end users, and we continuously learn them. So it is possible that you are a survivor, but you also run marathons. So there is no point in giving you any kind of rewards for physical activity, even though physical activity is a very important part of your recovery. But maybe we should focus more on social interaction. So we would learn you over time, and we would know how to adjust whatever program is best for you.
How would you learn? In other words, how would your initial engagement with the patient work?
So we start with a basic task list that we are adapting from the manuals of clinical, cognitive behavioral therapy, which include, just like I said, physical, mental exercises and stuff like that. And then we see what you do. We see what's motivating you enough. We see how you behave naturally without us motivating you. And by that, we can say, okay, you don't move enough, or you are moving a lot. So, okay, what's important in that for us? You don't speak enough on your phone. You're not outside in the sun. We're trying to figure out what is it in your behavior that we can push a little bit further. We can improve a little bit more. And it can change. It can change between days, because sometimes you're entering a depression, which may take a week or 2 or 3, and you will behave differently, and we'll adapt to that period of time, and we'll help you get out of it, but then adapt to the fact that you are now a little bit different than what you were a week ago.
And Navat, if you don't mind my saying that, what you're also doing is you're measuring the vital signs, your sensors.
True. We're measuring everything that is measurable today through smartphones and wearables, which is exponentially growing all the time. So from vital signs, movement, now there's even continuous blood work. So everything like that, we can collect the data and work with it to improve all of those different aspects.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to be in touch offline through LinkedIn.
Thank you.
Hi, Navat. This is Anshuman. You did mention that you're measuring vitals and other physiological parameters. Do you happen to have data that you can share, or maybe offline? I'm happy to connect with you and understand what your baseline usability looks like, and what type of data you're actually capturing across your initial patient cohort.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ashan, for this question. We're not in the phase of collecting data yet. Our first rollout with Shadow's Edge is due to be in the next 2 or 3 weeks in the US, and then we'll have more data, and then we'll start building from there to collect more and more. But I'm happy to elaborate more offline.
Sure, I will reach out. Thanks.
And the Shadow's Edge, of course, is going to get you access to 30,000
so
users.
Yeah, thank you, Rosemary. Yeah, Shadow's Edge will give us initial 30,000 users, which would give us a really big boost, and an additional 300 users every single month. That's the rate of growth. So our memorandum of understanding gives us access to all of the data. So we are in the right direction of collecting a lot of data that we can start understanding more and more Shadow's Edge users and our users, and kind of refine all of our algorithms. I saw a question, but I couldn't see it.
It looks like someone has to drop off, unfortunately. What is the cost to get the 30,000 clients? Do you mind if I answer part of that, Navat?
Please do.
Yeah, so we are actually the Center for Advancing Innovation. We're partnered with Sherry Sobrato's charity called Resonance Philanthropies on the Brain Race. They actually have sponsored us for half of this. So Shadow's Edge is an app that has been developed for years for sick kids. And essentially what it is the kids go through this journey of journaling. So, and they go through this, the city has been, you have the, okay, good. Maybe you play it here. So the city's been destroyed. You go into the city, and as the kids continue to journal, they get access to paint tools that allowed them to do graffiti. And the cities become alive again. Flowers come out, the pigeon, that's the pigeon that has the wise wisdom. So you have to find the pigeons and these little pieces of paper so you can journal. So essentially what's happening is that Navat's PlayWell app is in the background of Shadow's Edge. So there's no cost of acquisition. There's a partnership because the Shadow's Edge was developed again for sick kids, specifically because Sherry Sobrato had brain tumors when she was a child.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's the full answer.
Quick question, this is John Parker. We've been talking about this with a couple of the other questions, but I'm still trying to understand where you're going in terms of defining endpoints for improved outcomes. I know as you start to generate evidence with users of this platform, how are you going to measure success out there? I understand that it's individualized and there are different things for each person, but how are you going to bring this together into something that's going to show that you've got real efficacy and it's providing real value to these patients?
Yeah, thank you, John. This is a really good question. So I would say there are three different paths to go here. One, like what you see right now on the screen, we're actively asking them when they're playing a game, how are they feeling? So the idea is that over time we can show that the before and after exercise or the before and after time, there is an improvement in psychological condition. That's one. Two is that we're measuring adherence to treatment in a way. We're measuring whether you were active, whether you're meeting your schedules with your appointment with your doctors and stuff like that. So we can show change over time in that you're being more active, more on time, more sleeping, wherever you need to be. And the third is in dollar cost. We will show, and we're benchmarking here other companies like Livongo, but we will show that over time, we reduce the price that you pay for out-of-pocket medical expenses. We reduce the cost of having you as an insurer for your provider. And here again, we're basing ourselves on other work that's been done in the market that we think, and we have a good reason to think that we're doing better.
And another thing, Shadow's Edge is actually gathering quite a lot of data that you can correlate with.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. The faster you go through the game, the more you're improving because you're actually journaling and so on and so forth.
Right.
Any other questions? John, did that answer your question?
It did, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Why don't you put your contact details up there again, Navat?
Yeah. That's us.